When you hear the word theology, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably dusty old books, complicated arguments, something kind of dry. But what if that's all wrong? What if theology is actually the most exciting story ever told? Let's dig into that. Yeah, the novelist Dorothy Sayers really nailed it way back in 1949. Dull dogma. That phrase perfectly captures how so many people feel. It just sounds like a list of boring, abstract rules, right? But here's the twist. Based on the work of theologian Michael Horton, we're going to challenge that whole idea. The proposal is that the dogma is the drama. It's not a rule book for the play, it's the actual script of reality itself. So Horton lays this out beautifully. Instead of seeing theology as a jumble of random beliefs, we should see it as a story that unfolds in 4 acts, and each act is totally connected to the next. And what's so cool about this is the flow. You can see the path right here. It starts with the big story itself, then moves to understanding what it all means, which leads to our gut reaction, and finally, it shows us how to actually live it out. Okay, so first up is the drama. This isn't just any story. This is the grand narrative of everything. It's the plotline that tries to answer our biggest questions. Who are we? How did we get here? Where are we going? It's that epic arc of creation, fall, redemption, and finally, restoration. And that drama naturally leads us to doctrine. Now, this isn't about memorizing theories. Think of doctrine as the director's commentary on the film. It's the teaching that rises right out of the story, explaining the significance of what's happening. It's the why behind the what. Next up is doxology. Yeah, it's a bit of a fancy word, but all it really means is praise and worship. It's that moment when you truly get the sheer scale of the drama and what it means for you personally, and the only response you have left is just awe. An amen that comes from deep down.
And all of that, the story, its meaning, the awe, it all culminates in discipleship. This is the part where we get off the sidelines. We stop being just spectators in the audience, and we actually get to be part of the cast. We're handed a role, and the script of this drama starts to shape who we are and what we do.
But here's the thing. This idea of living inside a story, it's not just for religious people. Not at all. It's actually a universal human thing.
I mean, think about it. Every single one of us, religious or not, makes sense of our lives through some kind of bigger story. Maybe your story is humanity is always progressing, or life is a struggle for liberation, or the goal is to create your own identity. The point is, there are no uninterpreted facts. We all have a story.
And this is where we hit a really key distinction. On one hand, you have a narrative. That's a story that knows it's a story. It's honest about being a faith-based take on reality. But then you have a meta-narrative. That's a story that pretends it isn't one. It masks itself as just pure objective reason, the way things are. So here's the kicker. The Christian story is a mega-narrative, a huge, all-encompassing story, but it is not a meta-narrative. It's not pretending to be neutral. It's upfront about its source. It claims to be a story that God is telling. And, super importantly, it places everyone, including its own followers, under the same standard.
C.S. Lewis had such a great way of putting this. He called it the true myth. It has all the power and meaning of a great myth, but with one massive difference. It actually broke into our world as a historical fact, grounded in a real person at a real time under a real governor.
Okay, so why does all this matter? Why is having one big, connected story so important? Well, that brings us to this idea of theology as a kind of jigsaw puzzle. The analogy here is just perfect. Systematic theology, that coherent story, is like the picture on the top of the puzzle box. Without it, all you have is 1,000 random, disconnected pieces. The box top shows you how every single piece, every detail, fits together to create one stunning, unified picture. And man, the stakes are high, because if you lose that picture on the box, if the main story starts to crumble, then everything you've built on top of it is in danger of collapsing too. What's fascinating is that when faith starts to unravel, it often happens in the exact reverse order of how it was built. It starts small, by questioning the reliability of the core drama, the story itself. Before you know it, the doctrines feel baseless. Then worship starts to feel hollow, more about us than anything else. And finally, discipleship just fizzles out, leaving a kind of vague niceness with no real foundation.
All right, so this brings it all home. It gets to the most personal question of all. Where do you fit into this whole drama? See, the invitation here is a total role reversal. It challenges us to stop trying to make God a supporting actor in our life story. Instead, it invites us to find our true meaning and purpose by becoming part of the cast in God's great drama of redemption.
This verse from 1 Peter just says it all, doesn't it? It's like you're being rewritten into the script. You're called out of the darkness, given a new name, a new identity, and made part of a people with a purpose. So what does that mean for us? Well, it completely reframes how we see our lives. Life is no longer just a random walk. We become pilgrims on the way, part of a whole community on a journey together, inside a story that's still unfolding but has a guaranteed glorious destination. And that's where we'll leave it, with a final thought. Since we all live by a story, whether we realize it or not, the only real question left is, what story is defining your reality?